chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the Championship is opening up.
Hello everybody, welcome again to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and it's been a busy week for the Mills. We're a day late, but there's been plenty happening in the day of delay. We have another apology and another signing. We also have a preview to talk about the Sunderland game coming up tomorrow afternoon as well. Be a fun one. Danny's with us first of all. Danny, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, lads. Had a nice little camping trip away. There was a fair bit of alcohol involved, and we got quite a lot of lorries to toot their horns at us from a motorway bridge, so I'm a very happy man.
That's a strange thing to do on a holiday.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Especially the one that flashed all his lights at us. That were ace.
Did you go in a nursery, Danny?
No.
Okay, just checking.
Mick's with us, as you can hear. Mick back in the car park in North Wales. How are you doing, Mick?
I'm all right, mate. Rather damp tonight this evening in Wales, but never mind.
What a shock. Raining in Wales. Who would have thought? And Lewis Oldham's back with us. How are you doing, Lewis?
I'm good, chaps. Good. Happy to be back on.
Glad to have you aboard. Thank you everyone who's joining us. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you've liked the episode and subscribed to the YouTube channel as well. We're going to get last week out of the way. We're going to finally get last week out of our system and talk about the apology that came through. I mentioned on the show I did last night that we've now got more apologies than points on the board, Mick, which is something. So anybody doesn't know, Bobby Madley came with Howard Webb, who was the head of the PGMOL, and Kevin Friend, who is basically head of Premier League, the referees outside of the Premier League, from what I can understand. So big bosses meeting, Mick, at Roundwood. An apology. Apparently the first yellow card was incorrect. Thoughts? Yeah,
well, it was. I mean, we know that, don't we? And it's been subsequently proved to be true over the whole of that weekend. There's two parts to this, aren't there? There's the fact that we're 2 games into the season, we've already got 2 apologies from 2 different referees for 2 different mistakes that they've made. Well, more than 2 different mistakes that they've made throughout the course of both games. So that's one side of it, which is not good enough. We know it's not good enough. It leaves 2 players, one now on 3 yellow cards and one on 2 yellow cards after 1 game. You know, after 2 games, it's just madness. But apology or otherwise, there's nothing that can be done about that, is there? You know, the rules are what the rules are, and I don't think that they are they're put in place necessarily by PGMOL, the FA, or whatever. They're IFAB rules, you know. And I think this idea of not being able to changing the rule of not being able to appeal a yellow card is not going to change anytime soon. And I don't think Howard Webb and his team have got any input on that, to be fair. So, you know, that is what it is. It's disappointing that we've had to get to this stage. But again, you know, they've got to do the job properly, and they're clearly fully aware of that. And hopefully standards will improve, he says. You know, we've been saying that for many years now, haven't we? So I don't think any of us are going to hold our breath on that point. On the other side of it, I tweeted about this the other day. I know we can. It's very, very easy to be cynical about the fact that, you know, we've had another apology, but to have the head of referees, the head of EFL referees, and the actual referee who made the mistake come to us and make the apology. I'm sure Mr. Madley wouldn't have come of his own free will. He's obviously been made to do that. I think it's a step in the right direction. It takes some balls from Madley to do it, or even despite the fact he's obviously been told to do it. So you've got to, for me, he earns a little bit of respect for that. It's clear, again, to me, that Howard Webb is taking steps to make referees more accountable, and that's exactly what that meeting was about. It was about making Bobby Madley accountable for the clear and obvious errors that he made during the course of that game. You know, and Howard Webb's job is to make them accountable to the managers and the teams and the clubs, not to us as supporters. That's not his role. And by doing it to the club, for me, I think that's a big step in the right direction. You know, I like Howard. I think he's a top bloke. He's a Rotherham fan, and he's committed, without a doubt, in my mind, to improving standards. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and I'm sure he wants exactly the same that we want as supporters. Referees to implement the laws of the game correctly and consistently. And the fact that hasn't been done, and he has essentially driven the referee who made the mistake to the manager whose team he made the mistake against and made him apologise, I think has to be applauded. That's my view. And I get what everybody's saying about, you know, we lost 2 points from that game. As probably, even if you take your partisan hat off, your Rotherham United hat off, it's probably one of the first times I can remember where they can actually say, as a direct result of the referee, we lost 2 points in a game. You know, we can all moan about, oh, if we'd done that, but on this occasion, you know, we did. So we don't get that back. We've still got the yellow cards. However, what can be done would appear to be being done. And I think it's a good thing, personally.
Yeah, I mean, obviously people are happy. Cheryl Stone says no action against Madley. He is refereeing again this weekend. I think he's doing a Premier League game as a fourth official on Sunday as well. I mean, there's two things we ask for, Lewis, I suppose. We ask for consistency, which we don't often get. But I think accountability is massive in football in general, in life in general, to be honest with you. But accountability for referees is something we've never really seen before. It's very much been a closed shot. But this is accountability. You physically can't give us the 2 points. There's nothing they can do now to fix what they did. All they can do is come out and talk about it, apologise, and take ownership of it. That's all they can do at this stage.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was refreshing that he actually came to the training ground and explained and had a adult chat about it, really, because it's the first I'm sure it's happened before, but it's the first I've heard it happen to us anyway. And it shows that I think Howard Webb's aware of there's going to be some teething problems with this new changes. I think I listened to him on he did an interview with Neville and Carragher the other day, and they were basically the same vibe, really. They were just saying that it's not going to be perfect straight away with these massive changes, and I know we've come a foul to it, which is about our luck, isn't it? But hopefully it just levels out over the course of the season. I think, as Matt Taylor said the other day, it's a 46 game season, so hopefully this gets out of the way quickly, and then it'll be better then. But it doesn't take away how frustrating it was.
No, it does. Obviously, Madley's getting a lot of stick. Only thing I would say on Bobby Madley is that I said to Mick before half time, it may be my fault it all went downhill, because I said to Mick just before half time, I thought Bobby Madley was having quite a good game. I thought for the first half, I think he got everything right. The Dexter booking was a right booking. The Cafu handball was a booking because he picked the ball, but when the foul had been given, whether it's a foul or not, that's a question. But I thought that generally Bobby Madley had a good game until he didn't, and they really didn't have a good game.
Yeah.
So I think it's not. It's difficult, Danny, and I know how difficult it is because I was sat in the same seat as everyone else on Saturday. But you've got to take a step back and sort of say, right, he just had a stupid way. It cost us the game. He's taking responsibility. How his two bosses are aware of the situation, and I shouldn't expect it to happen again. And like I said, what more can they do right now?
Yeah, it's a fair point. What more can they actually do unless we have the game replayed with a different official and see what happens? But that's never going to happen, is it? I mean, my question is, like, and I know Bobby Madley went to the training ground to apologise, but it's one of them things of because the bosses went with him. It's like, did he have a choice in it? And they've just gone, you need to go and apologise. Like, if he'd gone of his own accord against the PGMOL and just turn up at the training ground and say, or at least inform them beforehand, I want to come and apologise for it, then I think that would have given not more accountability, but a bit of a, he's come out and done the decent thing. You know, like he's admitted it's his mistake. Like, granted, an apology doesn't get us 2 points back, but that's sort of him taking it by the scruff of the neck and going, yep, that's on me, I apologise. And then we'll sort of look at it from a different vein and go, you know, Howard Webb did say teething issues, and that was one of them. That 15 minutes of madness. I think the PGMOL did have to come out and do something with it, but I think going with the two bosses just puts that little bit of doubt in your mind that it was Roy Madley's decision. They've said the club didn't ask for anything, which is fair enough. A certain account on Twitter hasn't believed that, which is also fair enough. But it's just a difficult one because you can sort of pick holes in everything. Like, if he didn't come out and apologise, you could pick holes in that. If it was just him, you could pick holes in it. And now that his bosses have gone with him, you can also pick holes in that as well. And we can talk about referees until cows come out on this podcast. And, you know, when they do well, we say they do well. Like you say, Matt, in the first half, we think he had quite a good game. And then the 15 minutes of madness in the second half really let the side down, both points-wise and officiating-wise. But yeah, it's just like, where'd you go from here? You know, because if we're going to get another red card for whatever reason, you know, I do think the fingers will be out straight away at the officials, even if it's an absolutely crunching challenge. Yeah, it just feels like that's the vibe that's there. But, you know, at the end of the day, what more can they do other than apologise? You know, so at least they've had the courtesy to do that and not just dug the reels in and gone, oh, we're right, we're not going to do anything.
I don't think that Bobby Madley was ever going to apologise of his own accord. I don't think that was ever going to happen. And given the fact that there's a hierarchy within the PGMOL, he wouldn't have been able to do that anyway. He wouldn't have been within his rights to do that because he would have been undermining his management. The bottom line with this is it's good management from the PGMOL. It's good management of their staff. They've pointed out that they've made a mistake. You now go out there and you own it. You go and apologise to the people that you've who suffered as a result of that mistake, and you make sure that you get yourself sorted in future. We're 2 games into the season and with a lot of new interpretations of different laws and different rules. It's going to take some time to get used to. There's no doubt about that for everybody. I mean, I'm back in a situation now where we start another season. I'm still not sure what offside rule is anymore, you know, because that's changed again. So, you know, that's my problem, obviously. But the bottom line is, of course, he didn't go of his own accord. No, he was made to go, and he was made to apologise. And if you put yourself in that position where your gaffer has pointed out to you the fact that you've made a mistake, and what you're going to do is come with me, and you are going to apologise to that person, you are going to remember that. Yeah. You are going to remember that much more than if you thought, I tell you what, I'll just go and say sorry to Matt Taylor and then it's done and I'll get rid of it. Then it's out of my mind. No. That's not what happened at all. You know, you've essentially been paraded through the streets, which is what's happened, isn't it? You know,
basically.
So, I think it's a good thing. I really do. We're still going to get mistakes. However, this kind of thing, to my knowledge, and like Lewis has said there, this is not something that's happened before. You know, the PGMOL have sat on the hands consistently for years and years and years and not acknowledged anything. You know, and what they're doing now is they're coming out and they're saying, yes, that was wrong. That should have been a penalty for Wolves against Man United. They are coming out and they're saying it, and they're owning it. So I'm not saying that it's going to make it any different. It may not, but I suspect it probably will in the longer term.
Hopefully. Nicholas came with, which is also a really important point. Taking your Rotherham fan hat off, maybe the referees have confused themselves on what to give and not what to give themselves. Yeah, these new implementations from IFAB are really confusing things. They're not easy. They don't seem to be easy rules. The first yellow card was a mistake. But under previous seasons, that would have been a yellow card as the Man U yellow going to the crowd and the other ones going. So these are changes in laws that we're all getting used to. Let's move on. 15 minutes again on the referee. Let's move on. Signing. We made a signing, Mick. Chris Tiahi finally comes in.
Never heard of him.
Never heard him. Useless. We should have spent more money on him, but that's what we should have done. We should have paid them over £1 million just so we've got a bigger transfer record, I think.
Yeah.
But he's coming, Mick. It is a club record transfer fee. It's by all accounts, this is going to be an excellent sign. Every you talk to and listen to who has seen him play give a glowing reference, don't they?
Yeah, they do, absolutely. And we spoke to Will Daniels, who knows quite a lot about him, and Will was glowing in his praise of him. So yeah, I mean, it's a good signing. We've known about it for, since his dad were a lad, haven't we? So let's wait and see. He's obviously, I can't imagine him being up to speed match fitness wise, or even fitness wise at all. I mean, I don't know what he has been able to do whilst they've been waiting, whether he's been able to do any training at all. We know he's obviously been in and around the squad, but good signing. And it's just another statement of intent from Tony Stewart that he's willing again to break the transfer record, and not in the same season that we're also clearly paying more money to players than we probably ever have done. So all good as far as I'm concerned. I can't see any downside to it at all.
Yeah, so the fee is somewhere between 500 and 800,000. So that's based on our previous record was 400,000, and we know it's the record. And according to Paul Davis, Wigan had a deal that they were going to sign for 880,000, but it's reported that our fee that we're paying isn't quite as high as that. So it's somewhere in that 300,000 gap between 5 and 800,000. That might sound like small change to some club. I had a message from a Hull fan and Leeds fan and a Wednesday fan laughing at that side of transfer record, but that's a step in the right direction that we are able to break the transfer record as and when needed, Lewis.
Yeah, definitely. Like Mick said, we're paying a lot more for wages than that as well, and loans and stuff. So everything's taken a step up, and the fact that we're able to break our transfer record on top of that as well, I assume he'll be on a decent wage as well.
Yeah.
It's just another positive step, another great signing. I've obviously looked through Twitter. I've not seen anyone say anything bad about him. All Wigan fans adore him, and a different type of midfielder. I think he should. It should fit in well, really, and just Rathbone and Cafu and that a bit more free rein going forward if they all play together, and Wilesy as well. I think Taylor said today that he's been training. I don't know if I misheard it while it's been ongoing. So he might not be match fit, but he'll be certainly fit. So he might be on bench and take a few weeks to get going, but after that, she'll be playing.
Hopefully. Chris Taylor says that Max Power, who's of Wigan, said it's an excellent signing for us, and we'll probably sell him for a lot of money. I think that's possibly the plan, Danny, that you say spends. Let's guess at 600,000. Let's guess in the middle. We spend 600,000 on somebody at 25-year-old. If he has an excellent season this season, doubles his price. His price tag doubles, and then some a little bit. So it's a real investment, and it feels like a smart piece of business from the club as well, to be honest.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't turn into a Freddie Ladipo situation where he was a club record fee and ended up going on a free. But I do think Taylor and his team are a bit more savvy when it comes to stuff like that. They'll obviously have done the homework on him and whereabouts he slots in. I mean, our club record fee is 400k, 450-ish with add-ons and stuff, maybe. So if it's more than that, and I've seen a few things floating about that Wigan were going to offer 900k. So we know it's in between that range. That's a very wide range at the same time, but still quite a fair bit of money for this club. I mean, he's not quite our first £1 million player. There's still time. But like you say, almost like he's going to slot in there and and push Rathbone and Cafu up a bit, or Wilesy as well, almost like that little anchor in the midfield. Interested he's not took the number 4 shirt, I will admit. He's gone for 27. But yeah, like I say, I think the plan is to hopefully see him go from strength to strength and sell him on for another decent whack of money, which is sort of the Exeter model. But they're more from promote from within and then go from there. But anyway, And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's all about. I think with the training side of it, I think he's been personal training, not with the squads, because I think that might go against his work permit, which I don't know. Maybe that's why it took so long, because he found out he was training with us and went, oh, that's naughty. He needs to stop doing that, and then we'll give you the work permit. But no, probably not. So he might have a fair bit of fitness, and I think he's joined in with the squads. Might not be match fit enough for Sunderland, but I'll have to wait and see with that when we do our
squad
later.
Oh
yeah, I think.
Bench, won't it?
Yeah, I think he'll be on bench. Yeah.
It's an interesting fact that you've got Leeds, Wednesday, and Hull City fans laughing at the transfer fee, because they obviously haven't looked at their own clubs and looked at the mess that they've made spending money on players, haven't they?
Oh, so have Wednesday paid a fee this window? Yeah.
No,
I think they've got this guy from PSG, haven't they?
I
don't know how much. But yeah.
They pay tuna, don't they?
So again.
Their currency is tuna, isn't it?
Possibly. He said in his interview that he compares himself as a player to Yaya Toure, but Matt Taylor's told me he wants him to play more like Casemiro. Both pretty good technical players. And that's maybe what we've been missing, Mick. I know Cafu is an excellent technical player, but we've missed that spark and that guy who's good on the ball. We've missed Dan Barlas. So let's put it, let's not skirt around it. We've missed the Dan Barlas type player. And every description that I've seen of Thierry is that he is a guy who can put his foot on the ball. He even talked about himself about sort of setting the play and just giving the ball to his teammates. And that's what we've been missing since January.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And as I said when Dan Barlasser went, the chances of us replacing Dan Barlasser are somewhere between slim and not at all. So if he can do half the things that Dan could do, then it's an even better investment. And it would appear that that's the type of player that he is. So fingers crossed, he can live up to the hype. And if he can, we're on to a winner, aren't we? So it's all positive stuff, absolutely.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Let's hope it works out for him. After the wait is done, typical to get sent off or something or get injured tomorrow. Let's hope that's not the case. There's still Matt is still talking about a permanent striker, another permanent striker coming in. The part of his article was not a loan; it was a permanent striker. So we'll see how that plays out between now and the window closes. When's the window close? The 1st of January, 1st of September, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Which is 2 weeks today, exactly 2 weeks today, the transfer window. So there will be business between now and then, it appears, and the loan window is open at the same time. And Matt Tiller has also talked about getting loans in as well. So it could be a busy couple of weeks, to be fair. I wonder if that's where the value is late on the window potentially. I don't know. I'll wait and see.
Get me yellow tie ready then.
Say that again.
Get me yellow tie ready then.
Yeah, I'll have to find it.
I still need to buy one. Bloody hell.
I'll get the shirt ironed. I'll get a tie. We don't have to iron a tie, do you?
Oh dear, man.
If it's a fabric tie, I think you do. But if it's a silk tie, you don't.
No, silk will be fine.
Who wears a silk tie?
I don't.
It's probably not silk. It costs about £4.50 from Amazon, so it's probably not silk.
No, it's not silk. Silk-like, shall I say? Then.
Yeah. Let's move forward to the Sunderland game. Let's start with the referee. This has been wild. If you've not seen this on Twitter, I am sorry. And to be honest with you, I feel really sorry for him because I think this is after our first 2 games and the decisions, I think this is a really tough game to referee, and it's Gavin Ward. Poor Gavin Ward. Poor Rotherham United.
I'm just not put the odds for a red card to be given in the game at any time.
All I will say is that our record with Gavin Ward is pretty good. We have 1 defeat in our last 5, which was Millwall at the New Year's Day, which whoever was refereeing that game with a loss were garbage. And his record refereeing Sunderland is rubbish. They've only got 1 win while he's been refereeing, which was against Morecambe. So it might work in our favour. That's me being trying to be really, really positive. Trying to be really, really positive, everybody. We'll see. I'm sure Victor's not happy to see that name come up on the team whenever he sees referees come up. Good luck, everybody. Sunderland away, Lewis. Well, last season you've been sitting there going, "God, this is tough." Yeah, I know we lost 3-0, but that was early in the season. but their form all season was brilliant. They had a really good season, but 2 defeats in 2 games. If anybody's not watched the scouting report we did with Graham Falk, he talks about them seriously in the striker. They don't have a striker. This might be a really good time to play them with their heads down, maybe recruitment not gone as well as it could do before the window closes. This could be a really good time to get Stadium Light.
We said that about Stoke, though, didn't we? That went well.
Very true.
But yeah, you're right. They've not been fully hitting the ground running, and that's a balance about Ross Stewart still winning injured as well because he's a cracking player when he's fit. They've made some good signs on paper, but they've just not kicked on yet, which hopefully carries on for Saturday as well. It's always a tough place to go. I'm just glad back to referee. It's probably a good job we're away rather than at home for the penalties we'll get. But then again, they've got a good record against him, so I'm sure it'll be a tough game. They're a good side, but hopefully the bad form continues.
Yeah, Shellstone says exactly what you says. Isn't that what we said about Stoke? Yeah, that's exactly what it said. They've spent a bit of money. They've spent a couple of million. Joe Bellingham's coming from Birmingham for just under 2 million. They signed a centre half from PSV from Holland. They have brought in a young kid from young striker from France. But again, these are youngsters. This is their model now. To be fair, they bring in youngsters and try and develop, which is an admirable way of trying to do things. But that means if you're going to have bad starts, it might take them a little bit longer to get out of a rut. To be honest with you, I think that's the downside of having so much youth.
Yeah, I do think so. Who was it who famously said you'll win nothing with kids, and look what happened?
I'll answer on it. 92 or something like that.
Yeah, but I think with Sunderland, like it's sort of like the right thing to do, sort of in football now. You know, like buy the young players, young, develop them, and then sell them on, and whilst they're still at in the prime of their careers. But like you say, it does lead to slow starts sometimes. You know, it's like I know it's going back a bit, but you know, the really young Man United side, they had slow starts in the Premier League with younger players, and they still came good and ended up kicking on. Quite possibly the case for Sunderland as well this season. I mean, we said this about Stoke. We felt it was the right time to play Stoke. You know, a lot of players, big turnover. You know, could play into our favour, and we got absolutely battered. But it could be the case for Sunderland again. I'm going to put a jinx asterisk next to that because I've probably jinxed it, saying it could play into our favour. But stereotypically, it could do. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see with Sunderland, because have we ever won at the Stadium of Light?
No, that's a very good transition, Danny. We have not won in 13 visits to Sunderland. The last win was in 1959. Mick might just remember that. So if you do remember what us winning at Sunderland, you're well done, because that was a long time ago. I think it's about 4 or 5 visits we had to the Stadium of Light. If it weren't for Icky, we would have won at the Stadium of Light. But you know, that's in the past. Let's move on from that. The good thing the good thing for Sunderland, Mick, is that they have Tony Mowbray, who I rate very highly as manager. Is as knowledgeable and as experienced as they come, really. So from that point of view, you've got to be wary of managers like that, because he will be able to turn around at some point, won't he?
He will, yeah, absolutely. The thing about Tony Mowbray, and I think Blackburn fans had an issue with this whilst he was there. He's not a particularly dynamic manager. You know, he kind of strikes me as being one that is stuck in his ways a little bit. But he's had a lot of success, so you know you can't criticize him, I guess, ultimately. So I mean, we're talking about what we said about going to Stoke and everything else. You know, it was our problem at Stoke. It wasn't necessarily that Stoke played particularly well, but we played particularly badly. And that is my concern, not only for Saturday really, but for the season at the moment, as to understanding what Matt Taylor's tactics are going to be at playing away from home. It is a worry if if the way we started the game at Stoke, trying to soak up pressure and everything else, is the way he's looking to play away from home, because I don't think we're going to get any change out of that at all, as we didn't at Stoke and as we didn't for the bulk of last season as well. So I feel that, if you're going to go from home and try and soak up pressure, you're going to lose. You're going to lose the bulk of the games, and we can say that from history. History tells us that, in this league. So there seems to me a little point in doing that. You might as well go away from home and have a go and lose than, just sitting back. So I'm interested to see whether or not that tactic from last season runs into this one in the away trips. And it certainly seemed that was the case when we played Stoke. So hopefully we've learned from that and we don't do it.
Nicholas Gilmore agrees. We have to show some attacking intent, which I agree with. Nicholas Gilmore thinks it's going to be a really tough game. They play flat all the time. We are poor away from home. So we are way better this time. Yeah. And Dave Lawrence on Tony Milbury, he tends to have a good first season. However, he can drop off as he has done at Borough, Coventry, and Blackburn, which is again also true.
That's another point. Sorry, Matt, for interrupting. That's another good point. Season after season in the Championship, you get teams who are either in the playoffs or pushing for the playoffs one season, and the next season they're scrapping. Yeah. They're scrapping to stay in the division. A la Barnsley, who went down, Huddersfield last season. So maybe, just maybe, Sunderland may find themselves in that this season. I mean, let's hope so from our point of view, because it drags somebody else down there, and we're playing them on Saturday.
Well, yeah. Especially if they got the recruitment right in terms of getting a proper striker in. You need a striker, obviously. That's massive. They've still got Jack Clark, who is a brilliant player, throws himself around a bit, which will please Mick no end. But still an excellent player. He's still an excellent player and causes massive problems at Stadium Art last season. So he's the one to watch out for, realistically, from the Sunderland side. Unless if you want more of that, you can watch the scouting report on YouTube with Graham Falk, which is good. You can build his cat in the background meowing if you're interested. So yeah, go have a listen and watch that. Back on to us though, Lewis. Other than Onyedinma Dimna, this is a potentially good weekend for us because Andre Green and Grant Hall and Tom Eaves should all be available. I think Hall's closer to not being available than the other two, but we are turning a corner in terms of players that are going to be available. We'll probably fill a bench. Add TI in there as well. We've got 4 extra players available that weren't available last weekend, so we're starting to get a proper squad again.
Yeah. It's always a balance when you can fill the bench in it before a game. But yeah, it's a big bonus. I think Andre Green's come back at right time with that death red card last week. He probably comes in straight away on the wing, possibly for the one change. Yeah, I won't really change anything other than that. But it just gives us more options with players coming back, and we'll be even better in 3 or 4 weeks' time when, fingers crossed, most people are back, and we're spoiled for choice. But we've just got to get through this little period now when people are struggling for fitness, don't we? But this is a step in the right direction, definitely.
Yeah. Interesting to see how we're going to set up, Danny, because Matt just mentioned we're away from home. We need to show a bit of intent. We need to be aggressive, so to speak. But we're lacking options. Like last week, we had Onyedinma who was attacking probably the left or right. It was essentially a 4-3-3 with a Dauphin, Cafu and Rathbone in the middle. Can Andre Green do that job? I didn't see him as maybe that type of striker, but if you do that, then the downside is you've got Wiles who's been off it and Andre Green playing in maybe 2 slightly unfamiliar positions. So you could have, for all the positive things I just mentioned, you could have a slight issue there. So you're on mute, Danny.
Yeah, we sort of saw Green deployed as almost like a number 2 striker. Obviously like number 2 striker when you're 2 up top during his trial phase. But other than that, we've not been able to see him because he's been injured. Which I saw a few people criticising why have we signed someone when he's injured. But it's like, we saw the spark in him. But anyway, but I do think during his previous spells in English football, he has played on the left of like of your front three, like not quite an out and out winger, so he's a bit more attacking, like inside attacking minded. But maybe could go there if we're deploying a three. Have Hugel in the middle with Green on the left and Odeyemi on the right. That's a possibility, and I quite like the sound of that. And then have your midfield three of Cafu, Adofin, and Tahi. Because, like I say, Wiles seemed a little bit off it in the Blackburn game. Could do with the rest, but then Wiles is a sort of player where he might look like he's playing poor, and then suddenly he has that magic moment in a game. So that's a nice headache to have. But also I think with Andre Green coming back fit now, it gives us more options to play up top. We could play with that two up top, but also play with the three and just push him out a bit wider. Same with midfield. If we want to play with two up top, it could put more attacks down the channels, playing with your two proper wingers, but then changes it into midfield where you've only got your two, etc. It just puts more strings to a bow, really, having effectively more players available and having a different midfield dynamic, because Cafu was like your big strong midfielder, and Wiles is your little terrier who chases after everything, and then Wiles is like your attacking minded one. We've sort of converted Adofin into playing in that role as well, and then Lindsay sort of is like the encore to Rathbone. If he's flagging a bit, Lindsay comes on and more or less does the same job now. But with Tahi, he's more of your two push up and be your attacking midfielders, and then he's your anchor rather than it being sort of flipped and Wiles just being the singular attacking midfielder. So again, just different dynamics, which is something you need in the Championship. You need multiple ways to play, and I do think in previous seasons, barring the interchange season last season, where we sort of had to take one style, slowly transition into another one, and then implement that. I think we have been quite one-dimensional. Like with Paul Warne, it was 5-4-1 a lot of the time, and then tried to play with wingers, but still only had one up top. Whereas this one, it almost feels like we can have multiple options, which might be why, and again, theorising here, might be why we've stopped doing positional squad tweets, and telling you how we line up.
Yeah.
Because if we line up 1 week 3-5-2, and then the next week 4-3-3, it still gives teams that little bit of time to look at the positions in the team sheet and gone, oh, that's what they're playing, right? We'll go with plan, 7. And that's how they counteract that.
Whereas that's what we didn't know. We struggled to work it out until they started playing. We struggled to work out what formation we.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So again, I know it's only the slightest of slight edges, but for a team like Rotherham, in the Championship, you need to just keep them guessing as long as you can, because it could just about play into your favour. I mean, look what happened against Blackburn. I don't think any was expected to be 2-0 up, and then a certain someone decided to act up, and then we lost 2 points. But now it's like, with Green again, like I said, just different option in multiple positions. All right, it might need a bit of getting used to in one position or the other, but so far, anyway, it seems like we've signed versatile players that can play in a number of positions and a number of roles. Like Matt Taylor said in his interview, Tahi likes to think he's your sort of Yaya Toure character, but Taylor's seen that he has the capability of playing the same type of football as Casemiro. If he wants him to watch that, so it's again versatile. That seems to be our go-to at the minute. Versatility.
Yeah, absolutely does. Nicholas will right the points out. Lindsay's moving in the right direction as well. I don't know how close he is. I don't think he's ready for this weekend. But that's positive. That's a big positive. Shelley asks, with Chris coming in, who do we think he replaces? Mick, I suppose, first of all, how surprised would you be to see Tahi start this weekend?
I'd be amazed if he starts this weekend. I'd be very, very surprised. I just can't see that happening. He may make the bench, but that's all I would have thought. I can't see him starting. The way things are at the moment, I think the clear and obvious person to make way will be Ben Wiles because of his form, and a little jig about a rejig in that centre of the pitch. But I suspect what will happen, it might be Hacks that makes way Might be a Doffin that makes way. Well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. It's a good, like we've said, like Dennis said previously, it's a good problem to have. So, it's not our problem either. It's Matt Taylor's. So our job is just to criticise him when it doesn't work.
That's right, yeah. It's not our problem until he gets it wrong. Then we will make it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think so. Yeah. So this is Cafu and Chris as a 3 going forward potentially. We're really harsh on the Dauphin though, Lewis, because he's been excellent and he was one of the best performances last week. But who would you drop? You're not going to never drop Ollie Rathbone because he's Ollie Rathbone, and Cafu just seems like that X Factor kind of player. So it's probably going to have to be Wiles and a Dauphin that make way.
Yeah, a Dauphin's the obvious one. So then you can play him and Cafu can basically swap positions then and say you can play a bit defensive. But yeah, it's good to have the options because even Mick says even Wiles can drop out, and if you do a bit of a switch for formations and jumble them up a bit, it's good to have the options. But it's good having versatility as well. But it's quality versatility as well. They're all really good players. It's not just they're average in different positions. There seem to be quality in various roles. So great stuff.
Absolutely. And moving into the defence, Danny, we could see the same back 4 for the first time ever under Matt Taylor probably this weekend, because I can't see a reason. There's no injuries. Touch wood. There's no injuries yet, and the back 4 up until the red card or even up to the first goal. Back 4 was excellent. Limbikisa, Cam Humphries, Tyler Blackett, and Cohen Bramall. I can't think why you would want to change that. I thought they were excellent.
Yeah, I thought. Well, obviously I wasn't at the game. I was just listening to it, but. Other than the penalty incident, from what I remember, Blackburn didn't really get a serious sniff until we went down to 10 men.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'd be more than happy to see that back 4 again. I suppose the only real shuffle that we're going to have to see, at least starting 11-wise, is Odeyema coming out. I've probably butchered that spelling. I got it right on Radio Sheffield the other day, and they said, "Oh, well done." But anyway, yeah, that's going to be a running theme for this season, by the way, me mispronouncing names. Right, it was bad enough last season. Yeah, it's bad enough last season. This season, it's a whole different thing. Anyway,
name dropping that you've been on Radio Sheffield as well, Danny. I am.
Yeah, and I'm going to be on Saturday at 2:15 as well. So if anyone wants to listen to my preview and more sprouting off about football, tune in. Well, hey,
why do they never ask me?
I don't know.
Well, I wonder
why.
There'll be a question about referees involved, and that might be one. Anyway, so yeah, I would keep the same back 4, just because they've just performed well together, and I think, well, granted, we've only got how long is it now? 210 minutes worth of football over 2 matches to really get this comparison, but I do think we play better with a back 4 than a back 3.
Yeah.
It just gives us a bit more. Oh, how do I describe it? It gives us a bit
more comfortable.
Yeah, and it sort of like bulks us out a bit more at the back. I think having 4 in front of you across a flat back line almost feels a bit more intimidating to the other team than just having your 3 and then 2 players further up. Like, I don't know. I just think a back 4's the way to go, and even with Dexter and Cohen running up the flanks, they've still got the wider 3 in front of them, so that could cause overlaps. It could cause a passing route, or it could provide a little dummy inside, and then you go through midfield. We'll have to see which tactics we implement there, but I do think a back 4's the way to go until we get battered by somebody playing a back 4. But nothing yet, so that's my tea on that.
Yeah, I was wondering some of the players. Blackett's been really good in the back 4. I wonder if he prefers a back 4 to a back 3. Sean Morris has not yet quite worked in a back 3. I think both times he played last season, I think it was a back 4. So again, he hasn't played well in the back 3 just yet. Very, very early days, like 3 games he's played or whatever. But still, that is interesting to me. Make any other changes that you've been making to any of the team? I said Onyedem will obviously come out. Probably Andre Gray. Anything else you would change?
No, I don't think so. I thought the way that they played against Blackburn was excellent in the main until the red card. So just go again doing the same thing, and I think we'll be fine. There was enough to see in that game show that we're going to give teams a proper go this season, and we're not fully up to strength yet either. There are going to be more incomings. So, back four is definitely the way to go. In my view, we look a lot better, a lot stronger, and a lot safer at the back. So, but it depends, like I said earlier on, what his intention is in terms of playing away from home and whether it is going to change or not. Who knows? Hopefully not.
So let's wait and see. We can't do the same as what we did at Stoke, I think, because that's the obvious. If you play like that against most teams in this division, you're going to lose quite comfortably. Just away from the side, Nicholas Gilmore said it's also good to see Taylor wanting to sort out a new contract for Cam Humphreys, even though he still has 2 years left. Would give us a great fee at some point if he was to go with the length of the contract. Yeah, absolutely. Same thing with Victor at Christmas when he's had the contract at Christmas. It protects the club. Obviously, gives the player himself some great security as well. But I think that's a really good step in the right direction. Really positive. Obviously, there's talk still going with Wilesy and Rathbone. We may not get positive outcomes on both of those, but we'll wait and see over the next couple of weeks potentially. If Wiles looks like a new contract, but could we see him leave in the next 2 weeks? That's something to keep an eye on as well. Let's do some score predictions for Saturday, for tomorrow. Danny, what do you reckon?
You know what? I think it's going to be first win at season. I'm going to say 1-0.
1-0. Like it. Like positivity, Lewis.
I'll say 1-1. I think it'll be tight, but I think we'll be playing much better with it at Stoke.
Okay, I'm going 2-1. I think it's potentially a good time to play him. If you, as we know, we're staying like on other grounds. Like if you can get an early goal, it can turn to a very, very tough place for the home team to play in. Get an early goal, similar to the home game last season. A couple of goals up, they'll probably make it nervous for us. Mick, what do you reckon?
Well, if you get an early goal, it'll be empty by half time, won't it? It's a bit like Swilsbury in that respect. They seem to have got a really decent number of hardcore supporters and probably just same number of hangers on who But anyway, that's just anecdotal, and I don't really know what I'm talking about. So, listen, I'm going to keep going for this one until we get it. We should have had it last weekend, so I'm going to go 2-0 Rotherham. I'm going to be positive.
Okay, fair enough. Christopher says 1-1. Brian Edwards Alex says 2-1. Nicholas Gilmore says 2-1 to Sunderland. Powerman says 2-1 to Sunderland, and Victor to be sent off by his favourite ref.
Oh, imagine if Victor gets sent off for elbowing someone in their eye socket by Gavin Ward. That would be so ironic, wouldn't it?
It would be very, very ironic. Yeah. YouTube says 2-0 to us. Cheryl Stone says 1-1. Noel Jordan says 1-0 to the Millers as well. Yeah, let's be positive. Who knows with this damn club? But after last Saturday, I can't. I don't know about you guys, but I can't feel anything but positive about Rotherham United. I feel like we're in a really good place. We lost 4-1 in the opening game, I suppose. But we feel good. We feel set and ready to go again, personally. I don't know.
All I'm saying is we've scored in every one of our games so far this season.
Yeah. Have we had a goal yet, by the way?
No.
We'll gloss over that bit of it. But I mean, I think a lot of Rotherham fans, not issue, but like concern. That's a better way of putting it. I think the main concern was like, where are the goals going to come from?
Yeah.
And I mean, we found 4 in 3 games, which it doesn't sound the best on paper, but it's somewhere to start. And
JJ's a striker.
Just keep cracking on. As soon as the strikers find the vein of form, that's when we're away. Because who scored for us so far? We've had Peltier score for us.
JJ scored
and then got injured. JJ against Morecambe. Yeah, the only striker to score. We scored against Blackburn. We're at Doffin and he's sort of a striker, isn't he?
Forward.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Adrak says, "Does we know why the video pass is not available on iPhone or audio only?" Yes, well, if you in the UK, it's Saturday 3 o'clock, so you can't watch it on iPhone.
I know we're not used to that with the Stadium of Light, but
Yeah,
It's in daylight.
yeah. If you're not in the UK, I can't answer that, I'm afraid. I don't know.
Because as much as we think we know about football, we actually don't work for the EFL.
Sadly.
You know, it's like, but if 40 years a job, we'll soon sort the house out, I'm telling you.
Would you want to work for EFL, though?
It seems very corporate, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, not sure
You
I
know,
want to work.
I mean, I'd quite like dishing out points deductions to some teams who actually deserve them. That'd be my department all over. Just like with little typewriter going right, -3 for you, -3 for you, -3 for you. Big points deduction for you, Man City. Yeah.
I think we'll just 7.
We have Rick Parley and then some random referee just dishing out minus points to some team. I'm very funny that. Who have you got there, Rick? I've got Wigan Athletic. How many points has been took off? -30. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a game show idea, that's a great idea.
It is a good idea. If they want to bring in a bigger audience, that's how to do it.
Yeah, give Anton Deck a ring. What are they up to at the minute? Saturday night takeaway. No, Saturday night point deduction.
Is there anything else Rotherham United related that we would need to cover tonight before we wrap it up and go and enjoy the rest of our Friday evenings?
I think we're about done, aren't we? Yeah, but a quick one tonight.
Yeah, you can moan about refs for 10 more minutes if you want me.
No. I'm not over it. Don't get me wrong. However,
all I'll say is right on referees, right. I know Mick doesn't want to rant, but I'll say something as well because I saw in the comments about the corner that was given as not a corner. It seems to me that the man in the middle, like sometimes quite rightly, does get the majority of the stick from fans because he's almost like the figurehead of the game. It's interesting that we don't really see assistant referees get as much stick. You know, like when they give offsides, like I said earlier, Mick, at the start of the show, the offside rule seems to change season to season. So does that, like, I don't know, almost waive their criticism because they've got one perspective of the game for the entirety of it, like, or is it just the natural thing to go to the one who actually has the whistle?
If you sit next to Mick, and I think there's a reason that there's no liner in front of our stand. And that's because
well, I mean, this is a stupid question, and I do apologise. Where are we with the offside rule this season? Are we back to daylight between players again now, or?
I don't think so. No, I think they want to bring that in. I don't think we're back to that yet.
Well, where are we then?
Same. Well, the only thing that's changed is the defender playing the ball. That's the only thing that's changed. And I'll be honest, I don't fully understand it. Yeah,
right, fine.
So we just not play offsides just for laugh?
Yeah, just bring in a goal line rule, and that's it.
Yeah. If you are legit the last man between the other player in the away team shirt and their goalkeeper, you are quite clearly offside.
Yeah, you can do that. I think so. I would, if you're listening, come on it. Bill always wanted to mention the Bristol City game being on Sky. Whenever I can't remember the exact date for it.
4th of October?
Yeah, early October. Moved to a Wednesday night and a slightly later kick-off at 8 o'clock. Odd game to put on telly, to be completely honest with you. But thankfully, the only positive is it's not a Saturday game moved to Sunday at 12 o'clock or Friday at 8. It's just a day later and 15 minutes later. So I don't really mind that one, to be honest. I don't know anybody else can disagree.
It's Sky doing their job for the fans again, isn't it? You know, for any Bristol City fans wanting to travel 5 or 6 hours on a Wednesday night, you know, just make it a little bit later.
And the day after.
Yeah, precisely. You know, and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, we've got sort of like the almost the luxury of it being at home. You know, because I guarantee if it was away, there'd be like 200 people go, if that. To that one, but
yeah, you know what I mean. We've done this before with Bristol City. I'm sure we had a midweek game on telly with them before. I
mean, is Sky trying to force some sort of strange rivalry between us and Bristol City, like just because they beat us last season?
That were bad though.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Us and Middlesbrough always tend to be on telly, don't we? Whenever we're
yeah.
But,
and us in Cardiff as well. That's a weird one.
Yeah, that one on telly because it rained, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it will be this season as well. Hey,
It will probably. Will, yeah.
Hope so.
Yeah. Right. Let's end it there. Thank you everybody for being with us. If you haven't watched the Sky Report, do go over. And now we're finished. So you go and watch that because it's interesting to pick up a bit more information on Sunderland. It's quite an in-depth one from Graham. So go and have a check out of that one. We will be back in our normal slot on Sunday, where we will look back at hopefully a game that's not impacted by a referee. That's what we're hoping for. We'll wait and see. We'll be as positive as we can with that one. But that's Sunday night as normal. Then we'll go back to the normal Thursday from next week onwards, barring any issues. Please subscribe on YouTube if you haven't done already. Make sure you've liked this video as well, wherever you watch it, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. If you watch it on listening, on iTunes or Spotify on the way to the game, probably maybe. Safe journeys, and make sure you subscribe to the video, to the audio on iTunes, Spotify, and give us a 5-star rating. Thank you, Danny. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. It's a pleasure, mate.
Yeah, no worries at all. Always happy to do these nights, lads.
And Lewis, pleasure to have you back with us, mate.
Yeah, no worries at all. Always a pleasure, lads.
And Mick, thank you, and I hope the co-op is still open for you to purchase some beer.
Yes, I will, and it stopped raining, which is another bonus as well.
Oh, that's reminded me. I've still got 2 Stella from camping. Well, hey, happy days.
Yeah, well, Danny's off to go to the fridge, and
Yes.
we will see you all on Sunday.
Is he going to go to the fridge and then motorway bridge?
I mean, it's a fair walk to the M18 from my house, but I can give it a go.
Anyway, we'll see you all soon. Thank you for being with us, and up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Slides into Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Foderingham, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box to Doffin, he can hit them, and he does. The Doffin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favor, drop me off.